Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. I can't tell you how many times over the last, let's say, 5 or 6 years, I've had to sit back and listen to people say, "Oh, James Harden is the greatest scorer they've ever seen in their lives." I've heard some people say some crazy things, man. Think of some of the things that Charles Barkley said. Think of some of the things that Chris Paul or Daryl Morey recently said, that he's the greatest offensive weapon this game has ever seen. Like, people have really gone overboard with this James Harden thing. And I never thought he was such a great scorer. I always thought he had a very lame and unexciting way of scoring. I said it. I thought he only had like 3 moves: the drive, he'll drive past you, the step back, and then maybe he had the lob, right? Those are his 3 main moves. And I just thought it was a very, very boring, kind of predictable way of playing basketball. And it even looked at some cases, like some instances that he was traveling, but the NBA referees were really helping him, right? They were bailing him out on when he would go up for a 3, he'll flap, fling his body all over the place to try to draw contact. I just didn't enjoy that brand of basketball. And a lot of people are wondering, why are you making this video? Have y'all seen James Harden's stats this season? Let me quickly read them off to you before we get back into this content here. He's scoring 16.6 points per game. He is shooting 36% from the field and 33% from the 3-point line, and is attempting 3 free throws a game. As I was going through this information, it made me think of Max Kellerman. Some of you wonder, okay, so what the heck? What does this have to do with Max Kellerman? It made me think of Max Kellerman because Max Kellerman was one of the few voices out there that was constantly calling out James Harden. Number one, he called him out for being a constant choker in the playoffs. He was the only one that I heard calling out James Harden like that. And number 2, Max Kellerman was one of these people that always pushed back when it came to this notion of James Harden being the best scorer in NBA history, the best scorer in the modern day. Max Kellerman never bought into it. And the reason I think Max Kellerman never bought into it was because he was analyzing what he was seeing and analyzing what people were saying. If you analyze things and you think about things critically, you'll be able to see through a lot of the things that people are saying. So what we want to do here for you, we want to play an exchange that Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith had a few years ago, where they were discussing this very issue. Is James Harden the best offensive player that we've seen since sliced bread? So before we go too far, what we want to do is play this audio for you, take a listen to that, and then we'll come back and tell you guys, give you guys our thoughts. So take a listen to that there.
James Harden says nothing. He just goes about the points. He don't give a damn. He's shameless when it comes to scoring. James Harden, if he had to shoot 53 free throws to beat you, he'd do it. If he had to shoot 33 pointers to do it, he'll do it. If you gave him a layup every day and just block off the 3-point spot, take layups all day, he'll do it. He don't give a damn how he accumulates the points.
I'll tell you this.
That's all I'm saying.
He's the thirstiest scorer in the era.
Okay. But I'm just saying, exactly.
Yeah.
Not the best, because we all know KD is the most efficient. I'm just simply saying, KD doesn't want to beat you that way. James Harden doesn't care.
In this era of basketball, if you have a superstar scorer playing on a D'Antoni team, everyone will think they're better at scoring than they actually are. Harden's a great scorer. He is clearly not the best scorer of this era. And there are guys like Kobe Bryant. Like, when Kobe averaged 35 points, it's not like the whole league was averaging close to Kobe was, and they weren't shooting the 3 like they are now. If Kobe came up in an era where he had to shoot the 3 a lot,
but even
Kobe was a better scorer than Harden.
Even Kobe, as much as he wants to shoot and take over and all of this other stuff, Kobe be cussing dudes out at the same time for not doing their part. You can go to James Harden. I need you to shoot 70 times. James Harden, okay. All right, no problem. And that's what you need me to do. He doesn't take time off. He's trying to engage in load management. James Harden, regular season game, you out there both overtime. You out there in the regular season. He don't give a damn. He don't give a damn.
Right, because
he doesn't care.
He's playing in a Daryl Morey, Mike D'Antoni team, and he's a great offensive player.
I'm just telling you, this dude, he's a great offensive player, but he's thirsty. You can't go to KD and go like this, we need you to score all the points to win. KD be like, man, that ain't the way to play. That ain't, James Harden's like, okay.
When I think of the greatest scorers I've ever seen, Harden is not one of them. I think of Michael Jordan. I think of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think of Kevin Durant. And I think of Kobe Bryant. Those are the dudes that scored differently from everyone else.
James Harden is one of the greatest scorers in the history of basketball because he's got the outside, inside game, and he's willing to get to the free throw line.
He's a great scorer, no doubt.
What I liked about Max Kellerman was this. As far as his analysis was, I like the fact that Max Kellerman always tried to explain why things were happening. Whereas Stephen A. Smith will just tell you exactly what's happening. Max Kellerman, you would give him a bit of information, he would look at it and try to like take it a step further so the audience can understand what the heck is really going on here. Stephen A. Smith would just pretty much reiterate something we already knew. He would say something that was visually, like it was clearly obvious to the entire audience. And I think Max Kellerman is someone that enjoyed analyzing things. And I think the major reason, based on what some of the things that Max Kellerman was saying, I think the major reason James Harden was able to score all of those points was because of excessive free throw attempts based on the manipulation of referees and his excessive 3-point attempts. Anyone that paid attention to James Harden's numbers will tell you this, and I'll prove it to you. The season that James Harden averaged 36.1 points per game when he broke Kobe Bryant's record, who was the last person to score 35.5 points per game. I want you guys to listen to this. James Harden that season was attempting 24.5 field goals a game. No problem. A lot of scorers attempt a lot of shots. He was attempting 24.5. Here's the part you got to pay attention to. He was shooting 44% from the field. No problem, right? But here's the part you have to pay attention to. That season, James Harden was attempting 13.2 3-pointers per game. 13.2, and he was making 4.8. Basically, he was scoring about 12 to 15 points a night on just 3-point shots. That in the NBA circles on the playground is what we call a chuck. You a chuck. You're just chucking up threes, and nobody enjoys watching a chuck. If James Harden was such a great prolific scorer, why can't he adapt to the new rule changes? Why can't he adapt to this? And I think this is one of the reasons Max Kellerman was able to see through him. Max Kellerman was looking at the same thing I was looking at and understanding the only reason this guy was scoring so much was because he was taking a crazy amount of threes and the referees were sending him to the free throw line to the point where I think Kevin Garnett one day said they treat James Harden like he's Michael freaking Jordan. And this is one of the reasons why Max Kellerman brought balance to that show. This is one of the reasons. Now on ESPN, if you watch First Take, is a shouting match. And it's basically whoever can shout the loudest and pretty much say nothing. Now, sometimes Kendrick Perkins does say some things here, but I thought that sometimes Max Kellerman gave some sound basketball, analysis. Sometimes people disagreed, but I think he was thinking about things. When he was saying Kawhi Leonard was more clutch than Kobe Bryant, he wasn't just saying that now he knew it would sound like a hot take, but he was looking at a lot of the numbers. Now I disagreed with him, but nevertheless, that's what he was looking at. When you ask him who's the better player between Jordan and LeBron, Max Kellerman isn't just sitting up scratching his belly, eating some chicken or eating, just eating some bread or whatever. Say, it's Jordan, it's Jordan because he's so athletic, he can jump high enough. No, he will sit down and tell you the reason Jordan is better is because of X, Y, and Z. The advanced analytics say this, X, Y, and he goes into the details, and that's what I think the show is missing right now. Some solid analysis, not just a bunch of shouting and all of these different things. And to me, I think that's one of the reasons why he could have possibly been a better analyst. Now, some people will say that's ridiculous. Stephen A. Smith has been covering basketball for the longest time, but it's one of the reasons Max Kellerman would always joke with him and say, listen, you're the expert and you're always wrong. And that would piss Stephen A. Smith off. It's like Stephen A. Smith used to get really angry with Max Kellerman. He's like, how can you be the expert and you're always wrong? You're always picking wrong. And Stephen A. Smith always, I'm picking with my heart. And Max Kellerman rarely picked with his heart. But to me, I just think this whole James Harden thing, Max Kellerman was ahead of the curve. And I think that if he was still on ESPN First Take today, he would be able to give us some solid insight as to what is really taking place with James Harden right now, because James Harden is struggling. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about this opinion? Do you think it's over the top? Do you think I'm reaching? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.